Would you consider the Kardashians as scammers? Well, you might after we expose all their bad businesses and shady dealings. From Kourtney's Kids Boutique, which never really took off, to the glorified tax haven that Kris Jenner calls her church, here's everything you need to know about the bad business and shady money of the Kardashian empire. The family of influencers often tries to position themselves as savvy business owners, but Kourtney's Kids Boutique, Smooch, is just one example of how bad they are at managing their affairs. This was one of the first forays the Kardashians made into the world of business, and they heavily promoted the store during the early seasons of their reality TV show. With the family rapidly gaining notoriety in those days, Smooch should have been an indisputable business coup, but instead, it shut down operations 6 years later. Now, Kourtney claims she ended the business because of her pregnancy. In her own words, she wanted to spend more time with her son when he was born, but that's basically just a convenient excuse. The truth is, the store probably never did very well. I mean, when Kourtney announced its closure, she offered massive discounts to clear out their stock, and that's something you'd only do if you're being forced out of business. No matter how dedicated Kourtney was to her family, you don't walk away from a business if it's bringing in the big bucks. And considering she and her sisters tried to get into the same niche again with the Kardashian Kids line, they clearly saw the potential there, but didn't have what it took to follow through. What's more, a company called Flowers by Zoe sued the company for failing to pay for her services. And even though the amount was a minuscule $2,300, this just reveals the underhanded practices the Kardashians use to keep their struggling businesses afloat. One of their most common techniques is to make bold claims about products, and I'd say the Skechers Shape-Ups fiasco is the best example of that. Do y'all remember that ad Kim was in when the collaboration began? It was a pretty steamy set of scenes, but more importantly, it featured Kim K breaking up with her personal trainer because she didn't need him anymore. The point here was that Shape-Ups can help you get fit thanks to their unique design. But needless to say, you can't just tone your muscles by putting on a specific pair of shoes. Customers lined up to buy these products when they first came out, but by 2013, Skechers was found guilty of false advertising, and the company had to cough up $40 million to settle over 500,000 claims. The thing is, the Kardashians still got away with a massive payday, and they didn't have to get caught up in the legal battle that followed. They lied about what the product could do, pocketed the fees from Skechers, and came out richer despite the damage they caused. None of the women that bought these shoes saw any benefits, but I seriously doubt the Kardashians cared about that very much. Honestly, it kind of seems like most of their money comes from stuff like this, because whenever they try to start a business of their own, it rarely goes well. Just take a look at Kardashian chaos if you need more proof. If there's one thing the Kardashians know how to do, it's promote themselves. They've managed to create a brand with global recognition, so the family tried to cash in on that with a store on the Las Vegas Strip. Situated at the prestigious Mirage Hotel, Kardashian Chaos was basically just a merch store, featuring stuff like keychains, water bottles, and t-shirts, all with the family name printed on them. However, they seriously overestimated their brand value. They might be able to earn some cash through false claims and sponsorships, but not that many people wanted to buy Kardashian keychains, probably because there are a million better things you can spend your money on. Despite the glamorous red carpet premiere and the sisters making occasional experiences to drum up buzz, the store closed its doors about 3 years later, and the family quickly tried to brush it under the rug. You think that's bad? Wait until you hear about their very first makeup line, Kardashian Beauty. The reviews were awful. Customers seemed to hate everything they put out, and the brand faced countless struggles as it tried to get off the ground. The family originally called it Chroma Beauty, but they had to change the name after multiple lawsuits, and even that wasn't enough to save it from failure. Look, no matter how famous they get, the Kardashians have to put out quality products if they want to make enough sales, and every item in the Kardashian beauty line was substandard. Years later, Kylie Cosmetics gave the family some hope because one of the youngest members of the clan showed them the right way to do it, and this inspired Kim to create her own personalized line of makeup products. I'm talking about KKW Beauty, but it fizzled out in much the same way Kardashian Beauty and Smooch did. One of the brand's first products, the contour sticks, was widely criticized because the brushes seemed to fall apart without much use, and there was barely enough contour in them for customers to get their money's worth. We all know they intentionally tried to sell cheap makeup at insane prices, right? Instead of trying to offer something of value, they just try to scam customers however they can. The alternative would be to put some actual work into their businesses. And based on what I've seen so far, that's just not something the Kardashians are willing to commit to. Of course, Kim's seen some success in her spotty business career as well. Case in point, the Kim Kardashian Hollywood game. Some reports suggest that the app raked in a couple $100 million a year, and pretty soon, every member of the family had an app of their own. They all used a freemium model, usually charging a couple dollars a month for exclusive content while dangling the paid stuff in front of users like a carrot. Unfortunately, these apps didn't last very long. A few years after the gold rush, each of them started to see a dip in users, and by 2018, they weren't even in the top 1,500 apps in the store. All the apps shut down by the next year, and to make things worse, reports started coming out about the Kardashians seriously exploiting their workers. One app editor that was involved in these projects got paid all of $35,000 a year. And mind you, that's nothing when you're living in a city like LA. They were worked to the bone too, with another editor saying that her hair started falling out from the stress. And this is by no means the only example of the Kardashians pushing their employees to the breaking point. Despite all that, Kim K's continued to launch a few solid ventures here and there, like her enormously popular shapewear brand Skims, which was valued at over $4 billion as of 2023. But get this, the brand probably only became successful because of outrage marketing. Not a lot of people know this, but the brand was originally named Kimono, and when she faced enormous backlash for cultural appropriation, Kim apparently decided to change it to the current name. Now, my question is this: was this a genuine mistake, or did Kim know how much outrage she'd get? All publicity is good publicity. So I'm willing to bet that she never intended to use the Kimono brand name at all. She just wanted to stir up a storm on social media and give her brand a massive artificial boost in the process. The Kardashians use every shady technique in the book to keep the gravy train going, so it really wouldn't surprise me if this is the case. At the end of the day, this family is worth billions of dollars, and while a lot of that came from scams, it's also because they know how to game the system. Kris Jenner literally started a church just so that she could avoid paying taxes. For starters, I should mention that you could only join this church by paying a $1,000 monthly fee, and I don't know about you, but in my opinion, that's kind of pricey for a religious institution. The so-called California Community Church also requires members to donate 10% of their income as a tithe. And while that sounds like a desperate attempt to cash in on its own, there's way more to it. You see, you can get massive tax exemptions if you contribute to charity, and religious organizations don't have to pay taxes at all. This created a pretty potent combo, because if you think about it, the Kardashians themselves are members of the church, and by contributing to the tithe, they basically get to avoid paying taxes on at least 10% of their income. That's not even mentioning how secretive the church is. No one knows where the money goes, but I have a feeling the Kardashians just use it to line their own pockets. So, from the church Kris Jenner started just to avoid paying her taxes, to the embarrassing failure of Kourtney's smooch, this was all you needed to know about the bad business and shady money of the Kardashian clan.